Hello Stampers, it's Super Awesome Stamper Shirley Merker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wisconsin, USA. Thanks for purchasing the Pretty Pillow Box kits in the mail. So your package will create 2 of these Pretty Pillow Boxes or 4 hand stamped greeting cards if you add your own card bases. Now I'll be sharing a second video with you showing you how to convert the Pretty Pillow Box supplies into 4 greeting cards. So make sure you take a look at that video before you assemble your pillow boxes, because maybe you want to make greeting cards instead. All right, so let's get started. Grab your packet. It comes in a white packet like this. And take everything out and see what you got. That's everything. All right, I put some extra supplies in here, or more than you needed, hopefully. So this is the piece that we'll stamp some sentiments on. And then this is your embellishment kit. We are going to first work on the Fresh Freesia box. So separate out those supplies, which is the cardstock, the 2 die cut shapes, your ribbon, and then open up your embellishment pack. And maybe dump everything out on top of your cinnamon cider card base so you can move it aside. There. All right, grab my greeting card and put it in your Rolodex, because maybe you want to follow up with me, subscribe to my YouTube channel, check out my blog, or place an order. My email address is also on there for you. All right, so for the Fresh Freesia pieces, we're going to need this ribbon, which is in the spring catalog. The name escapes me for the moment. We'll need this strip of epoxy droplets. And let's see. I think that's it. Everything else, it goes on the bumblebee card. So set that aside. You also need to bring back in your 2 snowflakes and your piece of this patterned paper. All right, so that's what we're going to use. Also gather up your paper snips, your bone folder, Tombow liquid glue, your dimensionals, something to pull up the epoxy droplets. And then I used the pumpkin pie ink pad for this pillow box greeting. I used a soft suede one for the bumblebee. And then I also grabbed the color and contour stamp set. So I've got 2 blocks here. I'm pretty sure it's a B and a C. And Thank You for Everything will go on 1 block. And You Are Absolutely Amazing will go on the 2nd block. I wanted to point out something with our photopolymer stamp sets. A while back they changed to printing the stamp images on the backer sheet. So you just slide that, or it's inserted in your case. So when you take your stamps off of your plastic pieces that it arrives in, you take them off and just slip them on the case, and that way they're on the case and not on these 2 plastic pieces that come in the stamp set. I just want to point that out. Okay, so set that aside. We're done with that. All right, so You Are Simply Amazing. That's the one we're going to use. Going to push those aside a little bit. Now let's work on your box. I've already scored it up. And the box measures, in case you're looking at the video later on, it measures 5½ inches by 6 inches. And I've scored it at 2 inches and 3½ inches on the short side, and flipped it and scored it at 1½ and 4½ inches on that side. And then you just take your paper snips and cut up to the score mark on either side. And then I go in and I just remove a tiny little triangle from either flap. This just helps the box form up a little bit easier. And I saw this idea from Angie Judah. It's a similar idea. It's not the same idea that she did. It's definitely not the same design, and I've changed the box up a little bit. So just wanted to give her a little shout out. So then go ahead and take your bone folder and crisp up your score marks. You kind of see where this is going here. And after I am done with assembling this box with you, you might want to stop the video and do the same thing to the cinnamon cider box, or create a template using your designer series paper backer sheets, so you can make similar boxes in the future. You may not decorate with a pretty pillow box, but you could decorate with certainly with something else. All right, now you can kind of see the box coming together. We have this center flap that we sandwich in between the two larger flaps. And then while I'm assembling, I take a note where I start to push in my flaps to the center. So this back flap I push in. On the left side I pushed in first, so I'll do it on the right side. Flap up and then flap that up. That way you've got the not so nice edge, although you really can't tell on one side. This is a not so nice edge. The nicer edge is the side that's all scored. All right, now here you grab your Tombow glue and flap that down. And while that one's, you got a few seconds to wiggle with that Tombow glue. Just flat on the table is the best thing to do. Okay, and now you can Tombow glue the entire flap. That should be good. And here you've created your little fun little box from cardstock. Don't have to grab any other supplies or have anything else in stock to make your own little boxes. Okay, and then I usually just press, just make sure those flaps are straight on the table. Okay, and we've assembled the first box. So like I said, if you want to stop and do the same steps with your cinnamon cider piece, that would be great. Or you can proceed with me on to the next steps. All right, your next steps would be to grab these and look at your patterns. So patterns are going to be different. I tried to make sure that the patterns were appropriately spaced on your die cut shapes. So we got a polar bear up there and we got a snowman up there. And then you may have different sizes of flaps at the bottom. So initially I was using more paper and I could only get like one box per pattern paper. So I had to be a little more economical. So I couldn't give you the full flap on the bottom. And that just kind of happens when I'm creating samples. When I actually get into production mode, things change a little bit. So I would recommend that you do your flaps a little different like that. All right, so a little different like that would be, oh, let's just walk you through it. Find your score. So bend down on your score on either one. These you might want to crisp up as well because these will be wrapped around the box bottom. Okay. And then you could take these to your paper trimmer or just eyeball cutting some of that off. And it doesn't matter how much you leave, you just want something to wrap around the bottom of the box. Okay, those are waste. All right, so now these will just wrap under the bottom of the box. You do want to leave enough so you can do some wrapping and leave some area for glue. And then you just want to kind of center it on the box. So the first one, what I am doing is, I've got my score marks here. You probably can't see them. Score mark there and there. The bottom of that score mark actually lines up with the bottom of the box. So what I'm going to do is, which pattern do I want on the front? I want the snowman on the front. So here's my front of the box. It is the corner that is rounded and not cut. Okay, I'm going to glue that side. And then I'm going to put a tiny little thin piece of glue here. I probably should have left a little bit more of a ledge there. So I had a little more room for some glue. Okay, and then just wrap that score mark of the pattern paper around the score mark of your cardstock. Set it on your table, and then make sure you're eyeballing. You got about the same pattern paper sticking out on either side. All right, now these are not pretty to me. So just take your paper snips and cut them off. Angle your paper snips towards the cardstock and just cut those little triangles off. Okay, now back side. Tombow liquid glue again. Place that on there. And oh, I think I did that pretty good. It's just an eyeball thing. You don't want your pillow boxes off to one side or the other on your box, on your cardstock box. Okay, and then just hold that down. Oh, and take care not to put your glue on the outside of that. Way on the outside. So I'm going to have to use my paper snips. Might get some glue on there and I'll have to stop and clean them off. Oh, nope, I missed it. I missed the glue. Okay, so there's one of our boxes. Now I gave you a length of this Fresh Freesia organdy ribbon. All I did was tuck it inside my pretty pillow box just for some stuffing. So you can use it to kind of stuff or package whatever you're putting inside your box. So I didn't actually use it on the box at all. Okay, now let's get to decorating here. We've got some of your epoxy shapes, and I gave you a whole strip. Before we start decorating with epoxy shapes, let's do the snowflakes. Now the snowflakes are die cut. These are a carryover item, so they were in the fall catalog and they are carrying over, so you can currently purchase those. I'll have all the item numbers on my blog post with links to order them if it's after the fall catalog date. Because I'm not sure they're listed in the spring catalog. There is a page in the spring catalog towards the back that lists the carryover items, but I'm not sure all of the carryover items are listed there with item numbers. All right, I'll give you a little tissue to kind of protect those snowflakes. You can do whatever you want with the tissue. You can actually use that in your pillow box as well. Hey, I never thought of that. Crumple it up with your fun little whatever treat you're tucking in there. Okay, the snowflakes have a right side and a wrong side, or they have two sides, let's put it that way. One side is iridescent and one side is not. So can you tell which one is iridescent? The left one is the iridescent one. That's the one I want. Yeah, facing out. So what I did to attach my snowflakes is something real easy. A dimensional perfectly fits in the center of that snowflake, a regular size dimensional. And I am sure that they designed it that way. Super concept artists and designers, they think of everything. All right, now I am just going to put this one up a little higher so we can see a little bit more. Okay, this one I put a little lower to protect the snowflake. Let's get all crazy, knowing that we're not going to mail this and we're going to give this to somebody in a hand delivery. There, more of the snowflakes kind of sticking up there. Okay, all right, next we've got some of our ribbon. So this ribbon is our new frayed ribbon. See, it's got frayed on the end. It's super soft. It has these ribs. It has just lovely texture. So I gave you enough for two to put this on the back and the front, or if you're going to turn this into 4 cards, you've got enough ribbon to turn it into 4 cards. So just cut that about in half. Okay. So the half you can put in the back side, or you can add to your greeting cards. Okay, now this piece here is what I cut off. Do I got enough? No, that's not straight. So here is the piece that I use to stamp the sentiment, and it is about a 1-inch wide piece. So the reason why I gave you a large piece is because I didn't know what size sentiment you would be using. So go ahead and figure out your sentiment and then cut appropriately. Okay, so I've cut my piece down to 2.5 by 1 inch. 2.5 by 1 inches. And I'm going to shut this up for a bit and grab my ink pad. So we've got the pumpkin pie ink pad and the You're Absolutely Amazing stamp right there. And I'm going to put it, try to get it centered, leave a little space for my epoxy droplet there. And then I'm going to flag it the old way. Your paper snips is right in front of you. You just cut it down in the center, and then from the corner up to where you cut it, can I even see that? You just cut a little triangle. And this is what we did before we had a ton of punches. So that's the easy way to do a flag without grabbing a punch. Okay, I'll set that aside, bring back our box. Now, I just set that right there. And since this, it's not an easy thing to attach ribbon to something that isn't quite flat with the tape runner anyway. I'm gonna put a piece of tear and tape there. Pull that off. Place my ribbon there, kind of let it hang off the pillow box, and then grab my dimensionals again and put one way over here and put one about there, because this is going to hang off as well. And then position it so a little bit of the ribbon is peeking through on the left side, and then you can see a little bit of the ribbon on the angle right there. And then last, we grab our epoxy embellishments. And I didn't have any in the back side. I just did 3 on the front. So you've got 3 circles, 3 diamonds, and 3 droplets. So I just used the droplets. Why don't I do a different shape? How about the droplets? No, the droplets have to be, which way should they be going? This way or this way? I think they're dropping it. Is that even a word? I think they're dropping like that with the thin side up and the droplet side down. So it's like that. So let's position them on my spatula a little bit easier. A little easier. A little better. So droplet down. Let's see. Do I want to put the drop? How about I put the droplets just on sentiment this time, just for something a little different. Okay, and we're almost done with our first box. There you go. So I did something a little different. Added the droplets instead of the circles. Snowflakes are a little higher on the pillow box I just assembled with you. And one has got the fresh freesia ribbon inside and one has got the tissue in there. So if you got extra tissue, you can certainly crumple that up around whatever you're going to gift in your pretty pillow box. So the next step would be to assemble the second box. However, I am in such short supply with this box that I'm just going to point out how to assemble the box. So again, you'll need to go back to the video and cut the flaps, just like I mentioned. Cut your flaps down, cut a triangle, score them up and form them. And then these are cut a little closer. So you'll just have to fold, you won't have to cut those down, just fold them around, attach them to your box. And then I included one of these doilies. These are in the new spring catalog. You get, I think, 3 different colors in a package. So again, those were in short supply. And part of this is because as a demonstrator, I can pre-order supplies, but we're only allowed to pre-order supplies in a small quantity. Cut the doily in half, and it's inserted on either side, on the inside of that pretty pillow box. And then I gave you 2 of these punch shapes. So let's just show you. I use the soft suede ink pad and the color and contour stamp set, but I actually mounted a different verse. So there is So Happy For You in this stamp set right there, but there's also Thank You For Everything. So I would place that to the side. That also fits on this punch. And then I'll show you how I decorated up the punch. So you got a second one, and I gave you extras again in case you will be making 4 greeting cards instead of 2 pillow boxes. And or if you messed up your tag on both sides, you had another one to work with. All right, so a couple of things. Gave you some bumblebee trinkets. Now, if you follow along with me, you might know I am a second-year honeybee keeper, and I plan to continue on my endeavors. So I really love this paper and all the trinkets that go with it. So I wanted to feature it. All right, so getting ahead of myself. I've got this length of scalloped ribbon, and what I did was ran it back and forth 3 times on the tag. So how do you get this to stay? Well, the first swipe will be some kind of a tape runner. That'll be the first one. And the second one's going to stay there for me too, perhaps. What I did was, the next one then, or the top one, you can secure down with a glue dot. Okay, so it's just back and forth and back and forth to secure it how you need to. And then over that glue dot is going to be a bumblebee trinket. Make this as thick as you want. Like I said, you're not going to be mailing this, you're going to hand deliver it. So, all right, next will be our little acrylic flower shapes. Now on the back I gave you 2 of the large ones and 2 of the small ones. So on the back, on either side at the top, you'll attach those with a little tiny bit of glue, tiny bit of glue. Put your glue to where you want your flower acrylic shape. And then take your acrylic shape and place it over the little bit of glue. And that's how you attach the acrylic flower shapes. So that's how I made the tag. Also on the back, I gave you a snippet of this ribbon. So you would just cut it in half. See that? Use your tear and tape or your snail to attach your ribbon. Use a glue dot to attach that bumblebee. Use your Tombow glue to attach that flower shape. And there you've got your second box. All right, so I've got my tag already created for the greeting card video. All right, so I've been mentioning that greeting card video. And I wanted to share that if you didn't want to make pillow boxes, you could make 4 greeting cards with the supplies that I provided if you add your card bases. So make sure you click on the video description below to get a link to that video and see what I created. Maybe that will entice you to purchase the Pretty Pillow Box. This is dies. The Pretty Pillow Box dies are on the carryover list, so you can still purchase the dies from me through my online store. And celebration starts on January 4th. So if you purchase Pretty Pillow Box dies, a package of this pattern paper, some bumblebee trinkets, flower acrylic shapes, you're sure to exceed the $50 qualifying amount, and you'll be able to earn a free celebration item. All right, I'll be back to do a small catalog tour, so hang on while I clear off the table. Okay, here is the quick catalog tour. So the wonderful snowflakes, and they're iridescent. You get 24 snowflakes in a package. They're on page 25 of the holiday catalog. Like I said, they are carrying over into the new catalog, so you should be able to order those online through my online store. Most of the rest of the products came from the annual catalog. So here is the stamp set that I used, page 98, the color and contour. I used the pumpkin pie ink pad and the soft suede ink pad. The ribbon I used was the Very Vanilla scalped ribbon on the bumblebee pillow box. The white frayed ribbon is from the new spring catalog. And since I am filming prior to the release of that catalog, I can't show that catalog page, but it is in the spring catalog. And then I used the loose floral embellishments in the pale papaya is what you got in your kit, and also the bumblebee trinkets on page 141. And the silver and clear epoxy essentials are on page 142. They are number 12. All right, and then the Pretty Pillow Box dies. And I forgot to point out that the Pretty Pillow Box dies are on page 9 of the fall catalog, but they are on the carrying over list. So Pretty Pillow Box dies, page 9, right there. If you'd like to place an order for the Pillow Box dies, you are welcome to do that through my online store. And then last, I just wanted to show you the catalog cover. Since again, yes, I am filming this video before these catalogs go live, I can't show you the actual catalog pages, but the mini catalog holds the frayed ribbon. It has the Heart and Home doilies and Heart and Home pattern paper. You're going to want to look for those in the mini catalog. And then Celebration is a time where if you place a $50 or more order, you get to pick a free celebration item. And those $50 increments are unlimited. There are also $100 level rewards as well. You get an additional stamp set during Celebration if you host a qualifying party with me. So contact me to learn about those details. And last, if you sign up to be a demonstrator on my super awesome stampers team during Celebration, Stampin' Up! Will throw in 2 additional stamp sets that you select from either the mini catalog or the spring catalog, excluding host-only sets. All right, that's it. Again, thanks for purchasing my Pretty Pillow Box kits in the mail. Hope you enjoyed creating them. Look for the second video, which shows how to turn your kits into 4 hand-stamped greeting cards by adding your card bases. Hope you have a great day, and we'll stamp with you soon. Bye.